So in this lesson, we'll talk about probability trees. First thing to do, we'll make a table to calculate probability values. We'll use the example using coins. So when we have two coins and we toss them, what could we get? So on the first coin, you can find a head or a tail. And on the second coin, you can also find a head and a tail. So there are four outcomes here. So you could get two heads, a head and a tail and a head, or two tails. So for example, the probability of getting two heads, the number of favorable outcomes is only one, this number here. The total number of outcomes are the number of outcomes in the table. So there are four outcomes here. So the probability of getting two heads is 1 in 4. Similarly, the probability that the sides are different, which means either a head and a tail or a tail and a head. So the probability of a head and a tail is 1 out of 4. That's this one here, there. And then a tail and a head is here. And that is also 1 out of 4. There. So the probability that the sides are different is a quarter plus a quarter, which is a half. Okay, so in many questions, a table is not the best way to do probability questions. For example, we cannot make a table if we toss 3 or more coins. Tables may also become too large if there are too many possible outcomes. So you can imagine, we can't actually make a table if we have 3 coins. So what we do then is we use a probability tree. Okay, so let's think back. When we toss a coin, the probability of a head will be a half. The probability of a tail is also a half. Okay, so look at how this table is being set up. So this is toss 1, this is toss 2. So when you toss the coin, you could get a head or a tail. This is your first toss here. On the second toss, you could get a head, tail, tail. Okay. So what's your probability of a head when you toss the coin? It's a half. What's your probability when you toss the coin and get a tail? It's also a half. On the second coin, you can get a head or a tail. So again, they're a half, 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 half. Okay, so we write the outcomes on the end. So the first one, probability of getting a head and another head. We multiply. So the probability of getting a head on the first coin is a half. On the second coin, it's also a half again. So a half times a half is a quarter. So chance of getting two heads is a quarter, which is what we found in the table before. So this is a probability of a head and a tail. So again, we multiply as in the first one. So it's a half times a half, which is a quarter. The probability of a tail and then a head is a half times a half, which is also a quarter. The probability of getting two tails is also a quarter. A half times a half.